This is Venkatesh Pannam, the co-founder of EdGroom. Many students and parents have a question. When there are so many career websites, what is the need for another website? Or in what way EdGroom is different from other websites? EdGroom is a social platform where it provides all the information related to students' careers. Not only that, through a lot of tools, a student can get the personal information. For example, they can post all the doubts in Ed forum, and those questions will be answered by experts in their fields. They can read articles related to their careers, related to their courses, and lot of different articles can be found in these Ed blogs. And another important tool is the Advice, where they can get lot of information related to different career options. So they can browse all the information here, and they can get a lot of information about various careers. And another important one is Ed Alerts, where we provide all the brief information about various exams, and all the notifications will be posted here on a regular basis. This website is different from most of the career websites. That is, this provides complete information, personalized information to the students based on their interests and based on their chosen career options. So this, whatever the information that they get, is completely personalized. This you will find nowhere. So, and one important point is all these services are completely free. Dear students, please register in this website, and you just fill all the details in the profile, and then you can download the app from Google Play Store to get all the personal information related to your career. And lot of discussion will happen through webinars. So in those webinars, students can talk to the speakers, they can ask the questions, and they can clarify all the doubts. So definitely, EdGroom is a boon to the students and parents, where you can get answers to all your queries, and definitely this website will help you to take better career decisions. Please register and make use of all the services at EdGroom. Thank you.
What should I choose after my 10th? They say PCM has more scope than PCB. Shall I go for it?
I like biology a lot. What if I couldn't make it in NEET after 12th? Could I able to face the pressure?
I want to be an IITian or NITian in future, and I need good coaching for it. Where do I take my admission in?
Now that my MCET rank is decent enough, so which colleges should I choose for admissions in Vizag?
Do I really want to do engineering, or am I just going with the flow? Well, I've always wanted to prepare for civil exams. So what should I do now?
Is CSE really worth all the hype? What about ACE and GP? Should I do much research about it or stick to CSE? What if I don't get a job after taking up other branches? Questions like these have been haunting us for the past 2 years now. We never had a clarity as to what to choose or where to go. There always has been a doubt lurking in the corner of our minds.
But after using a platform like EdGroom, we have been able to gain some clarity regarding our decisions and choices. Experienced people in these fields have helped us to be firm with our decisions.
What is EdGroom? EdGroom is an online platform that clarifies all your doubts regarding your career choices and gives you valuable advice. It has an answer for every question of yours.
EdGroom is not only confined to science streams but also other streams like arts, commerce, etc. And since it's an online platform, you can have an access to it anytime.
This platform is run by experienced people like Venkatesa, who has been a lecturer for 2 years in intermediate. He has given the right guidance in an intermediate.
Venkates's way of approaching the students was unique and fair, and he has always been kind enough in clarifying the doubts.
People like Venkatesh sir are many on EdGroom who are willing to help the students. They'll help you to dream big and achieve big. So without any delay, take up your chance and make the right choice.
The most alarming problem today in front of students who want to choose the career in their passionate interest is that they are going all way wrong. Me, aspiring to be a doctor from my childhood, have heard many controversies that PCB is a tough course for an individual to secure a seat. And at some time, I have decided to take MPC so that it makes me easy to secure a seat. But I felt regret about it. At EdGroom, I researched about NEET and I've got much useful information. After the EdGroom webinar of career options after 10th, I learned that nothing here is too tough or too easy. EdGroom made me feel confident of what I'm willing to do. Not only me, but there are many of my friends who are confused to know their careers. I advised them to make research about it in EdGroom and the result was good. So finally, I suggest every student to join EdGroom and attend webinars to know more about career options. Thank you.
Santosh garu, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Alden.
Let's start, sir. Yeah, good evening, all. I welcome you to this wonderful evening with another interesting webinar on NEET. This is the last webinar on NEET for this year. We conducted already one webinar for physics, chemistry, and zoology. And today we are conducting another webinar for NEET exam on botany. Thank you, sir, for accepting to give a webinar and to guide the students. Definitely, I hope and I expect that the students will benefit from this webinar. So without wasting time, let's start the webinar. So before I hand over to Santosha, let me speak few things about it too. Then we'll start the webinar. Sir.
Still, I think login time 3 minutes is there. We'll continue.
Sir?
I think we told 5 o'clock we'll start the meeting ahead of.
First I'll show my, for 2 minutes I'll show what is a group.
Okay.
Then I'll introduce her. Then we'll start at 5 o'clock exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Sir, can you see the screen, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, good evening, one and all. Again, I welcome you all to this wonderful evening. Welcome to this webinar. This is the 25th webinar for this academic year. We started in September 5th last year, and we conducted so far 24 webinars on various subjects, topics, careers, and this is the 25th webinar we are conducting this week. So what exactly EdGroom is all about? EdGroom is a social platform which provides personalized information to students, parents, and even teachers to make better decisions. And EdGroom provides career guidance to 8th class to undergraduate students. So who can join EdGroom? That's an interesting question. It is basically meant for students because nowadays we see a lot of career options are available, but very few students know that these many career exist actually in the world. And if you look at engineering, there are more than 120 branches of engineering, but hardly most of the students know 10-15 branches of engineering. So our main goal is to educate the students about the various career options that are available. And that's why it is important for the students to do some research before they select the career that suits them well. So definitely students need a lot of support from not only from the teachers, parents, and even friends. So definitely this website is going to help them a lot to take better decisions. And parents, why parents need EdGroom? Because they can guide their kids. Some of the parents worried about their kids' decisions. So if they have some knowledge about the career, for sometimes what happens is some students, when they don't like mathematics, they wanted to go to BiPC. Can they do a NEET exam? Is the NEET exam easy? What are the characteristics students should have? So the parents also should have a knowledge about it. At the same time, most of the students nowadays are preferring advanced, JEE advanced, but they should know the knowledge of JEE advanced. How many hours they need work? So definitely this knowledge parents also should have. So to understand what are the career options. And very important, most of the students rely on the teachers for their guidance. So teachers also should know what exactly the career trends, and definitely if they know all the career options available, they can guide the students more effectively. So that's why students and parents and teachers definitely they have to join it to educate themselves about all the various career options available. And to guide the students, we have developed the tools like the first we say EdBlog, where a lot of content is created by the experts. Lot of articles are written by the experts, and those articles will help the students for making better choices. Then we have one more tool called EdForum. It's a very interesting place where the students can post any question they have. Even parents also can post, and even you can answer a question also. And some of those questions will be answered by the experts and the students who already written the exams. So we have a lot of questions posted in the forum, and most of the questions were answered by the experts. So definitely the expert guidance will be available in this forum for all your questions. Then we have one more tool we call it as Ed Alert. It is all about your exam notifications. Every information will be sent to you regarding your exam that you want to write. The last one we call it as Ed News, and now we call it Ed News. Was previously we called it Ed Byte. It's a very interesting place. As of today, we have 211,000 articles in this website. Those articles related to career, courses, even subject, lot of information available for subject, and definitely this is a better place to learn and grow. And let's see our stats, where exactly, as I said, we started this website last year, September 5th on the Teachers' Day. So during this 9 to 10 months time, this is what we are now. We have 1,700 registered users so far, and we got 68,000 visitors in the last 9 months, and 2,000 visitors every week are visiting our website for various reasons. And as I said, we have 211,000 articles related to career, courses, colleges, all that are available in our website. And so far, as I said, we conducted 24 webinars. So this is the 25th webinar that you are giving. Congratulations, sir. And we have, as of today, 535 plus subscribers to our YouTube channel and more than 19,000 views for our videos. And this is an interesting, as I said, with this today's webinar, we are concluding this exam-oriented webinars. Now onwards, from next week onwards, we are moving to career-oriented webinars. So every week from next Sunday, we are going to bring an expert from an engineering college. Then definitely they are going to talk about one branch. This is a very interesting webinar for those students who want to fly. This career options in aeronautical engineering, it was in association with Hindustan Institute of Technology and Science. It's a deemed university in Chennai, one of the oldest universities in Chennai, and they're expert in this field of aeronautical engineering. So Dr. Ashokan, the HOD of the School of Aeronautical Sciences, is going to talk about the career options in engineering. So the friends, even though you are from biology, I know, but some of your, brothers or some of your relatives may be interested in aeronautical engineering, please encourage them to participate in this webinar the next Sunday at the same time. This is what we believe, and I always advise even my students also. Don't follow the crowd. Choose a career where you'll find happiness and no regret. Most of the time, when you choose a career which you don't like or you don't find any pleasure in it, definitely we always regret why we have chosen it. So I always request and suggest the students, please choose a career which you have interest. And that's what I say, don't follow the follower. As long as you follow the follower, you never achieve things in life. So don't be afraid to choose a different path than others, because initially the people may laugh at you, but over a period of time, you will have happiness because you have chosen a separate path. So always dare enough to choose the path that you like. To design your career, please join EdBoom. It's completely free, and you can download the app from Play Store, and all the information is completely free. This is on my side. So let me introduce Santosh sir, the today's speaker. Once again, thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation. And definitely, from last 1 week, in spite of his busy schedule, I know you are so busy with the last minute preparation of the student, but still you given so much of information for the preparation of PowerPoint presentation. Definitely all your inputs today after this webinar, it is going to help them a lot. So let me introduce Santosh sir. Santosh sir completed his BSc from Avian College. It's a popular college in Vizag. And after completion of his BSc, then he studied MSc Biochemistry from Andhra University. And he has a double MSc, another MSc he did in Botany from Dr. Ambedkar University. After completion of his BSc and MSc, he worked as a project. He worked on a project which is effect of drugs on bacterial endotoxins in Dr. Reddy's bulk drug unit, Srikakulam. So after his MSc, he worked for a while in Reddy's laboratory. Then after that, he started his career in Winex Coaching Center and College, where he taught the biochemistry for most of the students who are preparing for RSET exam and some Central University exams. Then he worked there till 2007 to 2010. Then after 2010, he joined one of the best colleges for NEET preparation, that is Sri Chaitanya Junior College. Now he's working from last 12 years in Sri Chaitanya Junior College, and he's expert in botany, and is one of the finest faculty that is there in Vizag in botany. I once again welcome you, sir, to this wonderful evening, and I also welcome all the students. Your students have joined. Definitely, guys, I promise this webinar is going to help you a lot for your better preparation. And one popular slogan, Santosh says, biology is the boss. Yes, biology is the boss. You are going to prove it. Thank you so much, sir. I welcome you once again to this wonderful evening.
Thank you, sir. I think my voice is audible to you.
Yes, sir. Let me share your screen, sir, so that we can start. Sir, now your time starts.
Yeah, good evening to one and all. I welcome once again, and I thank very much from the bottom of my heart the co-founder at Bloom, Venkatesh, and at this point. I really appreciate his efforts to bring such a kind of webinar, which will be useful for the correct preparation regarding the students who are supposed to be going for the NEET 2022. Yeah, here is supposed to be the analysis of the last 3 years papers in terms of 21, 20, and 19 with regard to the subject of botany. And you can see that the first unit, diversity in living world, costs about six questions with respect to 21, whereas for the 20 it is supposed to be 5 questions, and 2019 we are having 5 questions each. This is from the first unit. So first unit has a weightage of even on an average of 5 questions for the last 3 years. So the next slide, you can just observe that the morphology and anatomy unit, which some students actually have a habit of saying that, not even some, most of them, they say that it is supposed to be somewhat difficult. As an average of say 5 questions in the last 2 years and on about 4 questions in the 2019 paper. So the reason why it becomes more difficult is the depth and also the memory part that is there in these 2 units. So that's why students feel that this particular unit is supposed to be somewhat difficult to actually get a grip over it. Going for the next slide, you can just observe that the masterclass unit in the first year, which makes the student to score better marks, according to me, is nothing but the cell structure and functions. You can see that nearly 12, in the sense 12, 10, 10, overall, it's not less than 8 questions are coming from this unit. So, and regularly this unit scores more marks because there are chapters which are supposed to be having fundamental questions here. And also you will have stock questions which gets repeated regularly. So this is one of the heart of the NEET paper, where you can find yourself getting more high scores due to preparation of this unit more appropriately. So cell structure and functions appears to be one of the forerunner in presenting itself more in the NEET paper in terms of the number of questions that are supposed to be observed in the recent NEET papers in the past 3 years. And I want to present you here one point that this is all a database talk, DBT, what they call. See, this data is supposed to be prepared according to the analysis that we have from the past 4 or 5 years. But we are presenting you due to the short time that we have. We are presenting you the analysis of the last 3-year papers, and the student should understand that this data is just portraying what amount of importance you should give to which unit in terms of time and preparation, and do try to make yourself more stronger and stronger in those units so that you can face the paper in a more appropriate manner and score high level marks. Going for the next part, which comes to be the plant physiology. Recently, from the past 4 or 5 years, this unit is supposed to be gaining some amount of importance, because earlier, as I find, before 2019, the other unit from the second year, sexual reproduction in flowering plants, actually started to gain, was more popular, because we used to get nearly 6 or 7 questions from the sexual reproduction in flowering plants unit. But today, the trend is like this, that this unit, which is supposed to be plant physiology from the past 3 years, you just observe we are getting 8, 9, 8 questions. So not less than 7 questions we are supposed to be getting here. That means this unit also, in terms of weightage, becomes the forerunner. So this completes our summation of the first year units in terms of the analysis. And here what I suggest you is to understand that weightage units in first year are nothing but technically speaking, one is supposed to be cell structure and functions, the other one is supposed to be plant physiology. These are the 2 forerunners in terms of the number of questions that they present within the paper. Now going to the second year part, where the analysis continues. This was the unit. You can just see in the last 3 years, the number of questions that are coming from this unit are gradually going on decreasing. But as I promise you, if you see the analysis of the last 6-7 years, you would observe that the number of questions that were appearing from these units, the sense of these chapters of this unit, they are much more than what you see in the last units. This is what is very important point that you need to understand. And the students also find this unit to be difficult, especially the second chapter, sexual reproduction in flowering plants, being more confusing with regard to the ploidy levels and also the methodology of conceptual nature where meiotic and mitotic divisions takes place, and what could be the technical names. Sometimes they put a wrong option without having a clarity over the word, and they find it to be difficult after seeing the key sheet that they have done a simple mistake. So this is one unit where conceptual part also plays a very important role. The next one comes to be the genetics and evolution. So in second year, the weightage unit comes to be this. There are two chapters in this. One is principles of inheritance and variation, and the molecular basis of inheritance. So both are conceptual. And in the last 4 years, we have seen some numerical based questions in principles of inheritance, one which is regularly given in all other papers. So Mendel started his hybridization experiments in which year? So by seeing that question, some students go on asking that we have to by heart all the years or what. No, it's not the point. But they try some questions like that because to filter the candidates, that becomes one of the important points. And coming to molecular biology, students face a lot of problems on the concepts of transcription, translation, and lacopron. These areas with regard to the enzymes and the process. So that gives a meaning that these two units have conceptual nature as well as some fundamentally by hearting concept. So therefore, coming to the number of questions, you see in 2019, they are 7, whereas in 2020, they are 7, and 2021, they are supposed to be 9. That is one important one. Going for the next, we also have so can we continue?
Yes, sir. Just
so this is the next slide where you can just observe. This slide shows you, so actually it will just show you the number of questions that come in some of the easy chapters in the second year, which are somewhat by hearting. These two chapters, regularly the student has to go through these chapters once in every 3 days. One is the strategies for enhancement in food production, the other one is microbes in human welfare along with ecology. We have added that also because the number of questions that appear are very less. So you can just see that in this chapter also, this unit also, nearly 5 questions do appear in 2021, taking a summation of 3 particular parts, that is strategies, microbes, and ecology. And here the student finds it difficult to remember the aspects of variety names, etc. So it's very, very important that you need to mention the point here that these chapters, such as strategies in enhancement in food products, microbes in human welfare, and ecology, should not be mixed with those conceptual topics. So we have to go with a separate one. The next one. Yeah, can we go to the next one?
yes, sir.
So according to me, after molecular biology and genetics unit, this is supposed to be the next unit, which has a weightage of nearly 8 questions in 2020, 5 questions in 2019, and 9 questions in 2021. So my dear students, you can just understand here that in second year, there are 2 major units which are supposed to be the forerunners in terms of the questions that they appear in the NEET paper. One unit is supposed to be the genetics and evolution unit. The second one is the biotechnology unit. And here, the basics of the unit are supposed to be questioned. That means simple words like schooling, illusion, these are supposed to be given in the question papers. So it's very easy to answer once you actually enter into the question paper. But the point is you need to have a lot of clarity on the process of RDNA technology. Then you can just present yourself very easily while answering these questions. That's very, very important point. Then the next, see, you can just see the analysis of the last year's paper. So some of the students have an opinion that there is some difference in the number of questions that they appear from first year to second year. But here the margin of difference is not that much. And some of you may have a doubt now how 58 number is supposed to be written. The 58 number is supposed to be written considering the total number of questions or the chapters that we teach. Actually, according to NEET last year, there was a difference in presentation of the paper. The paper earlier was under a brand name biology, but from the last year, it started getting bifurcated into what in the sense botany and zoology. So some of the botany chapters like cell cycle, cell division, these are even biomolecules. They are supposed to be placed in the zoology part. So totally what I present here, even leaving those questions which have zoology themes from the botany part, we got nearly say 58 questions and 46% are from the class 12 and 53% are from the class 11. That's the difference. So we need to understand that there is almost equal weightage, a slight edge with respect to some first year syllabus, but you need to be strong enough even in the first year. That gives you a correct opinion if you see the next paper's analysis also. So let us go to the next analysis. This is the analysis of the 2020 paper. Here we got 48 questions. And now you can see here what was the total amount of percentage. So a lot of variation comes here. So that's the reason why your fundamentally at the starting of the intermediate, when you choose BiPC, when you enter into BiPC, when you place yourself in the BiPC group, the point when you start, you need to be having a goal. From that day onwards, you should be very clear on what you're doing. Because you can see the number of questions weightage wise appearing in the question papers are more in first year than what in the sense second year. That's what is the difference. So 48 questions have appeared. The next one, the third analysis which we are presenting to you. See, this is how, this is one area where I will address it in a separate manner. But this area, you can just see the total amount of number of questions are 47. And here also you will get a percentage wise 38.3 and 55.3% from 12 and 11 classes respectively. And my dear students, now I'm just presenting you through EdGroup the analysis of the past 3 years papers. And for the past 3 years, you can just understand that there are 3 out of syllabus questions in the NEET paper, 3 out of syllabus questions. So one is the short arm and long arm that was appeared P and Q. The other one is the golden rice with respect to the genes that are introduced. And one question was on the centimorgon. So here I will address this out of NCERT part in a separate slide. But the percentage of out of NCERT questions, if you just observe yourself in the past 3 years, there were no out of NCERT questions in the past 2 years, but we have only NCERT out of NCERT questions in the 2019. So here I confine myself in telling that out of NCERT doesn't play a major role in seat getting part. Out of NCERT may be a point to limit yourself to score 180 out of 180, but even at least one out of these 3 questions, if you can just get an answer, then you will be able to score 170. So out of NCERT doesn't play a big role in changing the fate of a medical aspirant in losing a seat. That's what I mean to actually have an opinion. The next one. So this is what we observed in the question paper. We present here the total types of questions that are supposed to be noticed in the question paper. You can just see what's going on in the last 2-3 years. The match the following questions that are coming in the question papers are how many in the sense in 2019 there are 3, in 2020 there are 6, in 2021 there are 10 match the following questions. So here I want everyone to understand that if you are answering a match the following question, you are not answering a single MCQ, but minimum you are answering 4 MCQs. 4 MCQs you are answering. So when you are answering 4 MCQs, you should be more careful to present yourself in a correct way. And you can see the number of correct, incorrect statements. And this analysis will give you one more important point that in 2019, you can see the correct, incorrect statements, question type, number is how much in the sense 11. You said you can just highlight the 11 number in 2019. At the same time, in 2020, you can just see the correct, incorrect number comes to be how much in the sense 10. That gradually went on decreasing and the number of questions in the form of match the following have gone increasing. So you need to understand that there is no scope in taking match the following questions as take it granted type. Most of you have an opinion that you check the 2 options, present yourself and put the answer. Roman number 1 matches with A, Roman number 2 matches with B. Yes, I am correct. Therefore, you put the answer and go to the next. So that's not the way you present it. You should check until the last option. Then you could check whether you are putting the correct option or not, because answering 1 MCQ is equal to answering 1 match the following is equal to answering 4 MCQs. That's very, very important. And you can see from the past 3 years, there is no question of any diagram based questions to be appeared in the paper. And the numerical content is just 1 or 2. That's what I suggest. But the MCQ questions are supposed to be more than 50%. 30, 30, 32, 33 type of questions are coming, which are straight MCQs. A single statement followed by 4 options. That's what. The next one. So this is a summation of all the units of NCRT in terms of the number of questions. Here I present you from 2016. NEET was conducted in 2 phases. In 2016, 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21. It was only a single exam. You can just see the cell structure and function unit. It is supposed to be having regularly 9. I'm starting from 2016. 9, 8, 5, 6, 10, 10, 12. At the same time, you see the biotechnology unit. It starts from a lower value of 5. Now it is having 8. Even you see the genetics and evolution. It's not less than any area in the past 16 to 21. Every year we are getting minimum of more than 7 questions, including 7. So this analysis proves that top 3 units to get more amount of priority of marks in NEET are nothing but what in the sense cell structure and functions, biotechnology and genetics and evolution. But recently, you can just see which unit is also gaining popularity in the sense plant physiology, where the number of questions are gradually going on, increasing from 7, it went to 6. Now it is going up to what in the sense 9 and 8. That's also very, very important. The next one. See, these are the types of questions which every one of you know. And while answering these questions, you should understand that it is of which type and how many times you should read the question and how should you arrive at the answer. In a single MCQ type of question, you will have a single question followed by 4 options. And in this, 2 options will be not at all related to the question. They will be far away from the question. But 2 options will be somewhat near to the question. So you need to verify yourself that are you choosing the correct answer or not from those 2 near answers. So this is on the multiple choice type MCQ. The next one. This is the statement type of question. This is the question from 2021 paper, which is direct from the NCRT book. You can see that Here, the statement 1 and statement 2, they will be direct from the textbook and you will be based to answer whether which statement is correct and which statement is false. And these statement type of questions needs to be analyzed in such a way that they need to be read unto the last part, because in the last part of the statement, they can place a twist. So AUG codon codes for methionine and phenylalanine. You can see there. So the codon AUG does not code for phenylalanine. Codon AUG codes only for what in the sense methionine. So the statement has a twist in the last part. So students have to read until the last part before arriving at the answer in these type of questions. That is very important. The next one, the assertion reason type. Here, the problem with the students in answering these type of questions is how to arrive at an answer in between 1 and 2. That is where reason is a correct explanation for assertion and where reason is not a correct explanation for assertion. The difference is you have to be alert in reading the assertion. Generally, when the assertion is true, the reason statement also will be having a part of the assertion in it. A part of the assertion in it, which gives you a clue that is it explaining completely or not. Sometimes to be very clear in these kind of NEET papers, without as they want to avoid the ambiguity, they will be more or less technically giving such a particular assertion reason that almost every particular part of the assertion reason is very clear, and almost assertion will be true and reason will be false. That's what is the type of assertion reasons they present to avoid the ambiguity. So you should be able to have an opinion that the reason is having a capacity to explain the assertion or not by just reading it. So you should come to that conclusion before you put the answer. Next. This is matching type. This is what I was telling you. We are getting more number of questions from this. This type are appearing in the question paper. Nearly last year, we have got 10 questions. You can see what would be the nature of these questions. In the list one, small a, small b, small c, small d, all are what in the sense, each one is a MCQ type of question. And they need to be matched with in list 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So answering and matching is not answering a single question. Answering a matching is answering 4 MCQs. So you have to be very clear that you need to verify whether you are keeping a correct answer or not. I have seen students using marks in these type of questions because they will be in hurry to complete the biology and go for what in the sense physics and chemistry, so that they will have a difference here. The next one. So this also is the correct incorrect type which we were discussing. In 2019 and 2020, they have come nearly 8 and 10, I think, as if I remember in our analysis we presented. So regarding these type of questions, you should have a thorough reading knowledge of the NCERT text. Thorough reading knowledge of the NCERT text. Those sentences should be printed in your brain, and you should be able to read the entire 4 options before arriving at the answer. And you should also underline the question, whether they are asking the incorrect statement or the correct statement first. That should be the first point. The second one is, in every statement, whichever point you identify it to be the most important one, which makes it correct or incorrect, you should be able to underline it, because that will give you a clarity whether your answering nature is true or false when you analyze your result after the exam is over. For example, now if you see the 4 options that are presented here, say third option is correct. So you should be able to underline the key sentence why third option becomes to be correct. You should be able to underline it. Without underlining it, you should not go for a answering nature of the question. At the same time, you should be also able to underline the important points in the other 3 options, why they become wrong. That's also a point which you should answer. So while answering correct, incorrect questions, you should take into account 2 points. Number one, first is, do you have a thorough knowledge of those 4 sentences or not? If you don't have a knowledge of those sentences, then how to answer, we will discuss in the later part of the session. But while answering it, please underline the important areas, why the statement becomes true or false, apart from answering the important word in the question. The next one. See, this is what is the sequence type of question. This is more regularly repeated, the steps in the PCR, polymerase chain reaction, denaturation, annealing, and extension of the drive. So like this, there are many areas in the textbook where you will just observe the sequence will play a major role. I think you remember that we have Hershey and Chase experiment where infection, blending, centrifugation, that's also a sequence in the 3 steps of the Hershey and Chase experiment. They are also appearing in recent papers. Of course, it's a previous question also. So these kind of sequence type of questions also can come. So it would be better to have a thorough knowledge on the sequence type of questions that are there in the text when you are reading the chapter. That's also one important one. The next one. So I want here to just remind you, my dear students, that this is a very hot favorite question for NEET people, I think. NEET, for its brand name on the name of NEET, started in 2013. I find this question to be repeated in 2021 also, along with 2013. So this is a repeater. This is a repeater. This flowchart is the same flowchart which has appeared in 2013. And this once again appeared last year. And this flowchart is supposed to be direct textbook placement. So you can observe that these kind of flowcharts that are there in the textbook, they are given in the question paper to identify how much a student has a capacity to memorize the textbook and present himself or herself in the examination, whether he or she are following the textbook in terms of the diagrammatic approach or the flowcharts or the way in which the textbook is asking them to go through the content. So this flowchart type of question is a very important one in terms of the NEET papers. The next one. See, this is numerical. This is a numerical type of question. Once I shared you a question in analysis, Mendel's experiments years, and this is also a numerical type of question. So the typical embryo sac is a 7-celled, 8-nucleated structure. 7-celled, 8-nucleated structure. This is the 7-celled, 8-nucleated structure. This is the angiospermic embryo sac. So this is also one type. Otherwise, another numerical problem based question we will present you. The next slide gives you the clear meaning of that. So can we go to that? So this is what is the numerical based problem type of question. So these kind of problems can be allotted to any chapter. They can come from sexual reproduction in foreign plants with respect to meiosis and mitosis, or they can come with respect to the aspects of what in the sense even the nucleic acids. So they can come from any area with regard to the weightage of the chapter. So this is one numerical based problem in terms of the adenine content is given, and you have to take the content of the thymine, guanine, and cytosine, a plain chart of. So this model also is very, very important. The next one. So this is what how to present yourself in terms of becoming more stronger. What are the different ways and means to become stronger in botany? So you divide the entire syllabus into different types of chapters. Some are memory based, some are conceptual, some are supposed to be having both memory based, conceptual, and application. So I present you in the first sentence memory, regular revision of examples. There are chapters like morphology where a number of examples will be there. So you have to actually go through them in a period of 1 week from now. You have to go through them every time at least once in a week so that you become more stronger in that. And for example, if you take concept, I find regularly from the past 10 days, so many students questioning, what about chemiosmotic hypothesis? How is actually lac-O-prong able to function? So these things, they make it very important because students lack the conceptual ability in understanding that subtopic. So those you need to actually be thorough. That will come only when you read. If you're not able to understand the concept, you meet a particular learned teacher and ask him to explain and get clear the concept. Once again, go on reading and become more stronger in the concept. And the third point is, this is what most of the students say when they go for an answering of question paper. Sir, I lose marks in arriving at an answer. This comes due to proper lack of preparation and also speedy answering of the question paper. Ambiguity in between two answers. You can't arrive at an answer. You start from your home, you want to reach the college, and you say that you will come by a public transport, but when you come onto the road, you go into a three-wheeler auto and go come to the college. So that is, your mindset is not clear. So you have to be stable while answering a question. Read the question properly. First, eliminate the answers that do not relate to the question. Then peacefully read the question 2 to 3 times. Then see which option is linking to the question. Still, if you have a problem in answering that question, think of the options, why that one will be related to the question. And one of the options will not have some linkage with the question. It's a reverse type of thing. Therefore, you can eliminate it and arrive at a correct answer. That's right. So, yes, the fourth point is what I actually presume to be this year. Expect the new model questions. Expect the new model questions. How can it be a new model question? For example, there is a concept called as what in the sense, say, ascent of sap theory, how water moves from root system to shoot system. The entire synopsis of the theory can be presented in Roman numbers 1 to 5, and you may be asked to arrange them in a correct sequence. Even the steps in replication can be given in the form of different points, and you may be asked to replace them in correct sequence. So that is the new model type of question. And also diagram-based questions can be given, even to a certain extent that to make the question paper lengthy, like you answer the CBSE papers, a small stretch of 3 or 4 sentences in the form of a paragraph can be presented in the NEET paper. And you may be asked to read the paragraph to answer at least 1 or 2 questions. So it's a paragraph-based type of answer. Because in a lot of the reference books and magazines that you observe, which are there for this kind of preparation, they present it. But it is only to make you understand that as they want to filter the candidate, they will try something different from the other earlier things. Then the filtration will be done when the candidate sees a new type of question. Automatically, the tension in the candidate will go on increasing. Therefore, they will lose time. Losing time creates tension. Therefore, they will mark wrong answers and they will arrive at a low score. That's the mean. The next slide, we can go to it. So reasons for losing marks in the examinations, even losing questions in the examinations, in turn make you to lose the marks. First one is concept not understood, because most of you, I feel that here we need to mention the name of pandemic. In the last 2 years, majority of you do not have a direct approach of the online classes. And the outgoing students today are more prone to the first year online classes. So they don't have correct conceptual knowledge on many of the subtopics and chapters also, if I'm not wrong. That is making them to land at a wrong answer. The second one is improper reading of the question or fast reading of the question and not able to arrive at a correct answer. This not able to arrive at a correct answer comes into picture when your preparation in the chapter is not sound enough. So if you are preparing concentratedly, if you are able to cover each and every line, subtopic, each and every scientist name, each and every discovery, everything, then you will not be able to find any difficulty in arriving at a correct answer. That's the point that you need to understand. And the last but not least, the last two, three things. One thing that I want to tell here is your final placement in a medical college, in which college you are going to get placed, whether it is a government college or a private college, will be decided not by physics or chemistry, but by biology, because biology gives you a high score. So you have to allot proper time for preparation of biology. That's one point. Without allotting time, you can't consolidate your memory at this point of preparation. And unable to recall the information in the exam hall. So there will be some chapters like strategies, microbes, morphology, which are memory based. So you have to read them every 2 to 3 times, in the sense every third day or fourth day. That makes you to give more priority of memory nature to be fresh. And recently, bubbling mistake, because you are bubbling, some of you are bubbling all 180 questions in the last half an hour. That's a losing time nature. And some of you are bubbling at one to one question. In that area also, you are supposed to be doing some mistakes. So bubbling mistake should be avoided. That's very, very important. You should bubble the question along with the speed which you are reading. At the same time, you should bubble the question. That's very, very important. So your pen and the pencil, or your pen should be exactly on the OMR, along with your left hand on the question number, what you are reading, and your right hand on the question number in the OMR. Therefore, this left and right combination in a correct manner will make you to avoid the bubbling mistakes. That's very, very important. The next slide. So this is what I feel, these are the difficult areas in botany. What are the difficult areas in botany? A very important chapter, plant kingdom, in the first year, where most of you feel that the life cycle part and various examples, and even which plant has a dioecious nature, monoecious nature, and which is heterosporous, homosporous. All these things, these are the different areas which you feel somewhat difficult. Even in a morphology, you don't find correct examples to be memorized. And even in definitions, you don't find to remember them. For example, a definition for the Newsteady situation, or definition of a parthenocarpic food. And sometimes recently also, when a set of the NEET pattern of questions is 4 or 5 examples are supposed to be listed, study the following, and a list of 7 or 8 plants will be given, and how many of them are belonging to which family, or how many of them are medicinally important. They are asking, so number wise, you are not able to segregate them because you don't remember the economic importance of those plants correctly. That's also a point. And very difficult topic for most of the students, the anatomy, is the secondary growth. That's very, very important. A number of times they go on studying, but they find it difficult, because which cambium is formed by differentiation, which is formed by dedifferentiation. These things they find it somewhat difficult. So this is also one difficult area. And in cell cycle, cell division, exactly what I have written there is the heart of the chapter. Subphases of prophase 1, and the major events which differentiate between mitosis and meiosis. Mitosis and meiosis. These are the two important difficult areas in the aspect of cell cycle, cell division lesson. Coming to the photosynthesis, the chemiosmotic theory, which is discussed along with non-cyclic electron transport. And most of the students recently also, they failed to answer a simple question, which is the primary CO2 acceptor in C3 plants. Then automatically they went on keeping Rubisco. It's not Rubisco, it is RUBP. So here you need to have a clarity over what the question is, whether it is on the primary acceptor or the enzyme, what they are asking. So that important point, that's why I presented their C3 cycle and C4 cycle. Then the respiration part, that is electron transport chain. It is also like secondary growth, and the PCA cycle, which is a substrate level phosphorylation reaction, where GTP comes out and where ATP comes out, and also the ATP calculations. For example, from pyruvic acids, how many ATP you will get? 15, 14, 18. What's the answer? So that part also, most of the students, they find it difficult. So you need to have conceptual nature here. And in PCA cycle, you will be able to notice that which is a mobile carrier, which is not a mobile carrier. That part, the number of complexes, how are the electrons and protons moving, all this thing goes to be somewhat difficult for the students. That's also an area where more conceptual knowledge should be done. The next one. So this is regarding the second year syllabus, where microsporogenesis, megasporogenesis, even which are endospermic seeds, non-endospermic seeds, what's supposed to be a parthenocarpic fruit, what is a true fruit, what is a false fruit, and what's the ploidy levels of various tissues, that is endosperm of gymnosperms, endosperm of angiosperms. What about the ploidy of the nucellus? These are the areas where the student needs to have more clarity and they regularly get confused. So this is on the sexual reproduction part. And as I told you while presenting you the slides itself, in molecular biology, the regular part is replication, translation, Lacopra. Conceptually, the methodology, which step occurs after which step in translation, because the textbook has a limited explanation of half a page, but the questions will come from that half a page more in an applicative manner or in a direct. And by technology, you observe that the procedure of recombinant DNA technology, especially the selection of recombinants, that is, when you place a desired gene in the antibiotic resistant gene, that is a selectable marker, which will help in the selection of recombinants, which will help in the selection of transformants. That's also a point which you need to understand. And in genetics, there will be a table which differentiates the genes and chromosomes. It starts with chromosomal theory of inheritance, followed by what in the sense linkage. And the NCRT people presented a big single page explanation in the form of a diagram for the linkage cross A and cross B with regard to Drosophila work of T.H. Morgan, where most of the students find it difficult. So linkage is also a very difficult topic. This is on the class 12 part. The next one. So how to prepare? This is what I suggest you people. These are the books that you have to limit yourself. The two textbooks of NCRT, the exemplar, which is an NCRT prescribed book, and the laboratory manual. So one of you may have a doubt now why laboratory manual is necessary. As if I remember one question from the previous papers, winged pollen grains are present in which plant? The answer is pinus. That is supposed to be taken from the laboratory manual part. So sometimes they are supposed to be taking questions even from the laboratory manual part, and there are different types of tests. Like we have the concept of what in the sense typically test for proteins, test for what in the sense amino acids, test for lipids. All those things they are there in the manual part, but not in the regular book. That's very, very important. That's also a point. You need to confine yourself to the books that are released by the prescribed board, which is the authentic one, that is the NCR. The next one. So the mode of preparation. This is what is the methodology of preparation. See, remember, I once again repeat this particular sentence: biology is the boss. Because you find in the given diagram, there is a quite coincidence there that you find an animal along with a plant. Nature runs on the principle of association. So your amount of mark scoring nature will depend on the synchronizing output that you have, not only with regard to one part of biology, but on the other part of the biology. So you should have enough amount of sound knowledge in both botany and zoology so that you will be able to get a high score. That is very important. The next one. So this is the formula that I suggest. RIR. Read, interact, and revise. At this point of time, when NEET is supposed to be just say less than 15 days, or say more or less, let us take it granted as 2 weeks more than this, because in the last 3 days you can't go for much reading. What is the major area that you have to strong yourself is reading capacity has to go on increasing. And after reading 1 or 2 pages or 3 pages of the textbook, you have to interact yourself with a series of MCQs. Or if you are having a conceptual doubt, you have to clear it with your lecturer. And once again, after they clear the doubt, or if you solve the number of MCQs, and if you lose 4 or 5 MCQs, and you check it with your textbook preparation, once again, you have to give a thorough reading of it. This re-revising nature makes you stronger in the subject. So read, interact, and revise is the formula that makes you somewhat perfect in the subject. That is very, very important. The next one. See, this is what is the plan in the last 2 weeks. Just reading the textbook will not give you an exposure to the number of questions, and you will not be able to see whether your mind is responding to the questions correctly or not. So you have to present yourself in answering some question papers, take grand tests from any source which is somewhat legitimate, authentic, and somewhat renowned. So those papers should not be having less quality, which are somewhat legitimate, renowned. You take a grand test. And after the grand test, you have to perform AEA. What is AEA in the sense after exam analysis? This is a very important part in the last 15, 20 days or 2 weeks. For any exam, even for NEET, it is the most important part. See, if you are a candidate presenting yourself for the 17th July afternoon 2 p.m., then today also, if you consider it as 17th July, at this point of time today, while answering a question paper, what's your mindset? Why are you losing marks? Is it a conceptual error, or is it a calculation error, or is it supposed to be a fast reading error, or is it a bubbling mistake? Which type of mistake are you doing? Where are you losing? In a span of after exam analysis for continuously 3 days, you can get the correct exact placement of your lack of preparation or improper preparation. That means, you are continuously losing in the last 3 examination questions from one chapter. That gives you a clear picture that you are not sound enough in that particular chapter. Therefore, you need to concentrate more. One day you are losing questions from one chapter, another day you are losing questions from another chapter, third day you are losing questions from another chapter. But the similarity in all these things is they are all memory based. Then the memory based part of your preparation is not correct. At the same time, you are losing questions which are very direct. That means you might be doing the question paper in such a way that you are in a hurry to complete the biology part and go for the next, which is physics and chemistry. So after exam analysis, AEA, which is supposed to be, according to me, the correct way to rectify the mistakes and present yourself more appropriately in the next exam. That's what is very, very important for a correct NEET aspect. So when you do the analysis, you will get an idea how to present yourself, go back to your basics, seek the help if you want from the lecturer, get corrected, we see whether the key is wrong or your marked answer is wrong, because sometimes the key also may be wrong, so that also can be done. The next one. We can go for the next slide.
Yes, sir.
See, this is what I actually suggest you. I have separated 5 chapters. Revise every 3rd day these topics, which I find memory based: microbes in human welfare, ecosystem, strategies in food production, reproduction in organisms, and living world. These are the things. These things you can read every 3rd day. I have separated these topics from the mainstream lessons. I don't want to combine them with this. The next one. You can just see This is what is the analysis. The 7 or the top 7 chapters are molecular biology, genetics, biotechnology, cell biology. Maximum of 38 questions have come from these chapters. These chapters, as far as my analysis is concerned. And the least number of questions that have come from these chapters in the last 3 years is 30 questions. Is 30 questions. So even if you take the least number, if you are sound in these chapters, you are doing all 30 questions correctly, your score will be how much in the sense? 120 marks. And I have divided the chapters in such a way that you can see, I have taken the 7 to 7 formula. That is, you can take any 7 chapters. You have a first 7 and second 7 formula. The correct analysis, that is, I present you here that the 3 years analysis shows that past 3 years analysis, the openers, which are molecular biology, genetics, biotechnology, cell biology, they rate for 38 questions maximum and 30 questions. And the next people, plant physiology, 5 chapters, sexual reproduction, morphology, these people, they take the chance of getting less number of questions. So this year, if the system is followed, if the analysis is the same, then the same thing will repeat. More questions will come from the B7 chapters, which are the first B7 chapters, which are nothing but the openers. But if it is supposed to be not like that, then you are preparing the next 7 also. Therefore, you will be having the good amount of opinion, and you will be sound enough in the next 7 also. Therefore, you can score better marks. So you will not lose any mark instead of even following the analysis. That is very, very important. The next one. See, this is what I actually observe here. You see, plant physiology has got 8 questions. Diversity in living world, which I was telling you, the last chapters. You see, in 2020, plant physiology, 9 questions. Diversity in living world, 5 questions. In 2019, 8 and 5. So these are second 7 chapters. Even if you are reading the second 7 chapters, you are going to get the best mark. If the trend is followed, anyway, you are preparing the first 7 chapters, then also you are going to get the better marks. That's the point. You are not going to lose marks in any way. That is very important. The next one. See, this is what is the sense. That's what I told you. 30 with regard to, so 38 out of 45, that number. The second one is 27, the third one is 22. On and about, on an average of 30 questions, nearly 27, 25, 30 questions will be there in these chapters. That is with regard to the cell structure and functions, molecular biology and biotechnology. So you can easily go through these chapters. They will help you to score better marks. That is very, very important. The next one. See, this is what you have to be thorough in the last 1 week. You have to give a fast revision. Go through NCERT textbook for a period of 45 to 50 minutes and prepare the last 3 years papers with regard to what you are doing, where are your mistakes. And those mistake areas you should actually go on reading more. And never try to read new books. Don't buy new books. Don't solve new papers. Only solve those papers where you are supposed to be very much familiar. And the last sentence that I want to tell in terms of fast revision is concentrate on answering questions correctly, not answering all questions. Don't, if the paper is tough, it will be tough for everyone. So if you are answering, say, 35, answer 35 correctly. Not answering 45 and losing 10 bits. That's what I mean to suggest. The next one. This is one way you can become strong in the subject. This is a flow chart for the process of replication. You can just see diagrams make you more advantageous in becoming stronger in the subject. The entire diagram will be printed in your brain and you can easily recall the subject. And in a short time, the number of pages in the textbook will be easily flown so that your preparation angle also will become easy. This is one point what you need to understand. The next one. This is what is the numerical data of NCERT. Every part of the NCERT book has some knowledge in terms of numeric. So this entire numerical data you have to summarize at one part, and you have to place yourself in one particular area, so that daily when you are arriving before the grant test, when you are supposed to be going for the grant test, if you see this numerical data, then you will be very much clear that you are going to answer the question very easily, because you need not shift every page of the text. This gives a clear meaning. The next one. Yeah, we can go to the next. This is all the numerical data that is written, and this will help you to make the time get reduced in your preparation. Every part of the NCERT book numerical data, you have to prepare a synopsis and place it on your table. Every day you can go through them. Therefore, your grant test preparation in terms of numerical based questions or data based questions from the NCERT 2 years books, class 11 and class 12, will be summarized in a short time. That's very, very important. That is one. Next. So mnemonics, this is one part, because most of you find it difficult in remembering. Yeah, I want here to concentrate on one word out of all the mnemonics that I have just placed. Just see, please, because your plant kingdom lesson is supposed to be somewhat difficult. Please. The English word please has a lot of meaning in our particular sense. So there are some examples written there: Xylotum, Equisetum, Lycopodium, Ediantum. Even you can write Selaginella for S. I have not written it. So that is one way. And U and S. U and S. We see. So I have written there in the line, you can see U is supposed to be nothing but Ulothrix, Spirogyra, U and S. V C, V for Volvox and Para. U and S, V and C. It's very easy to remember all the green algae examples. You will be just able to see like that. And we have presented another one. You see the word self-defense. Self-defense. That will give you a clear meaning of the brown algae, all the examples of brown algae. And a very old mnemonic with regard to the 10 essential amino acids, PBT, tin, hot. So these, in this way also you can get stronger in the subject. It doesn't mean that everything should be by hearted in this manner. But this is also one method to become more stronger in the subject and score better marks. The next one. How to face the exam? Yes. This is one of the important tasks that majority of the students try to avoid attending examination at this point of time. So presently what I suggest is, as the time is increased by 20 minutes more, now it is 3 hours 20 minutes, and you have section A and section B. Out of section B, 15 questions, you have to answer 10 questions, and those 10 questions which you answer in a serial manner, they will be only taken into account according to the OMR analysis. So the time that I request you to allot for each biology subject is a minimum of 25 and a maximum of 30. And here I want to submit that my view is this year paper will be somewhat lengthy, because the number of questions are increased and they want to show some filtration nature. It will be a time taking paper. So you need to allot time for biology. You need to vary your time with respect to the question. Not that you keep a mindset going on that as fast I complete biology, I will land in chemistry, followed by what in the science physics. See, your placement in the medical college will be dependent on scoring in biology, followed by scoring in chemistry. Because a NEET aspirant will have the priority of scoring rates, and the first coming one will be biology, followed by what in the sense chemistry, followed by physics. Physics is such a subject where it will fetch you more when you score better in these two subjects. That's the analysis part also. And read complete questions without going for answers, and be confident in what your mark, such that you do 20, you take 25 minutes and answer only 30 questions or 32 questions, and once again you come back. If you are allotting 60 minutes time, at least you go on answering 45 plus 45, at least you complete answering 82 to 83 questions. That's because you need to answer 45 minutes. At least you complete one subject, and in the other subject you complete at least answering 40 questions. The last 5 you can see somewhat, because it is difficult, you can see in the last half an hour like that. But never try to keep as many number of 10 questions left out in biology and then go for what in the sense chemistry, because there once again if the paper is tough you will leave some questions. So all these questions will become burden in the last 30 minutes, and you will bubble in a wrong manner and you will lose more marks than what you gain. And marking unknown questions. Mark unknown questions. See, with respect to unknown questions, if you are marking an unknown question, see why are you marking it? You find it to mark because it is somewhat the answer comes into your brain that you have somewhere read it, and that appears to be an answer. And never mark an unknown question without having any knowledge. Take it granted as a fluke. That is very, very important. And ambiguous questions you should not answer in the first round. You should take a decision when it comes to the final nature. And how to find an answer for a confusion state. The confusion state answering can be only overcome when you first concentrate on completing one subject. If you are just answering botany and you are thinking how the zoology paper is, and I suggest that when you take the question paper in the final NEET also, please go through all the pages once. Take 5 minutes, nothing will happen. You will not lose anything. You can gain that time while answering easy questions. So you can get confidence that your zoology paper or physics paper or chemistry paper or botany paper is having some questions which I've seen in the past 2 years in your weekends or units or even in the past grand tests. So that will boost your confidence. Never try to tear the paper, seal off the paper and go on answering directly. Do try to present yourself comfortably, get seated and go on first seeing all the pages of the paper at least for 5-6 minutes. See that if some questions are supposed to be very much familiar to you, that will boost your confidence and present yourself in a more appropriate manner. The next one. Yeah, how to answer ambiguity questions. This is one area. This ambiguity questions part is supposed to be the most important part. Yesterday also in one of the paper, there was a question on whether the cells attend with G0 or G1. Such questions, if you don't want to answer, you leave them. When you want to answer them, you just come to a conclusion that this is the only ambiguous question that I am answering. If the question paper contains 4 to 5 ambiguous questions, don't mark all of them. That's my suggestion. But generally, if you are answering an ambiguous question, do try to see that why are you answering it. Yes, you have some clarity. The question has some hint, and the hint is supposed to be directly giving you an answer, which is the second option. That's why you mark it. There is a point of argument. And you feel that NCERT answer is one, and your legitimate answer is another, because there are some mistakes in NCERT. If it is my suggestion, I prefer to go with NCERT, but not with out of NCERT. In the sense, what is the legitimate answer? Because there might be some conceptual mistakes. The arguments actually gets valid on the NCERT statement. So if there is an ambiguity in giving an option, then you please put an answer which is there in NCERT. Therefore, you will have a base for your argument. That is very important. Never mark an answer which you feel that your lecturer has told it is supposed to be correct, not the NCERT. But if you want to place your argument to the NTA, then the best one is to place the NCERT answer and bubble. The next one. See how botany is easier than other subjects. And my dear students, here what I want to tell you is, there is no other subject where you can get 30 to 38 questions just from 7 chapters. Even if you read human physiology, the number of questions that you get, as if I have the knowledge, is 70, 14 to 70. So botany is such a subject where taking from first year totally cell structure and functions and plant physiology, from second year genetics and evolution and biotechnology, you are getting more questions. So even if today you start your preparation in a span of 10 days, you can become stronger in those subjects, in those chapters, and you can get more scoring nature. That's the easy nature of the botany. And the final paper will be much easier than what papers you are writing now. Because it's not that every student in the country is getting this kind of platform for learning, this kind of, source of actually having books. There are certain areas of the country which do not have the correct teacher, correct kind of books, correct kind of what in the sense support. So the paper will not be given considering the mindset of IQ values of city students or etc. They will be placed according to the average and below average students also. That's very, very important point what we need to say. So don't worry about the easy nature. Botany is easy because the moment you start the paper, botany only kicks you more when compared to other things. That's very important. The next one. The success formula is what I suggest is place yourself in a comfortable position, prepare according to the schedule that you prepare, and go on revising the topics regularly. You are sound in 4 lessons. Don't try to lose your touch on those 4 lessons. Keep a mark on those 4 lessons and prepare the next 4 lessons. Not that you don't read them for 1 week and go on reading the new chapters. Once again, these 4 lessons is where you are stronger, that you become weak in that. That's the success formula, what I say. I really suggest you that you should regularly read, interact, and revise. That's the RIR part. The next one.
Sir Santosh sir, just before we go to the Q&A, I'll just show you because some students already joined. Let me show them how EdRoom is going to help them for their effective preparation of NEET exam. And I'll just 2 minutes of your time, sir, then we'll come back.
Okay.
Santosh sir, with your permission.
Yeah.
Yeah, dear students, you all are preparing so well for the exam. So I know you're anxious about the exam. And so far, sir, you have done an excellent job. I was really fell in love with botany. Okay, because these are the botany and zoology are the only areas I don't have any knowledge about it. Because I am from science, that's the MPC group. So I am scared of these biology topics. But you explained so well. That's why your students love you so much. Yeah, dear students, whoever is a part of this EdRoom, recently we have introduced the filters. As I told in the beginning, here is the proof. We have, as of today, there are 211,000 articles. I repeat, 211,000 articles related to colleges, courses, everything is available under one roof. But remember, we are targeting another 6 to 7 months. We are aiming to get 1 lakh articles, 10 lakh articles. So definitely we are going to achieve that. For example, since you're preparing for NEET exam, you just come to this search bar and just put the NEET and you see a lot of articles related to NEET exam. But the problem here is, see, NEET preparation tips, very, very useful to you at this time. But some of the articles, maybe NEET PG also will be there. So what I suggest is, in order to avoid this type of confusion, we have actually created filters for your effective preparation that will save a lot of your time. Just you come here, come to this science. In science, you know, MPC and BiPC are so popular. So let's click BiPC now. Now, the moment you click BiPC, you have academics, you have career options, you have medicine. For example, you just look at your academics. So this area we are improving. So first you get BiPC. Exactly, you'll see what the BiPC is all about. And you all know this man, Darwin, is the reason for complete biology. And CBSE class 11th, NCERT books. So here you find all the physics syllabus for 11th class, botany, zoology, everything will be there for CBSE, all the information available for the CBSE 11th class and 12th class syllabus here and related to biology only. No maths you find here. Then again, you just come back to what called as the next part of it. As I said, we have a lot of career options are also available. We are bringing more option there. But now we are preparing for medicine. So let's go to medicine now. If you look at the medicine, you have 3 parts here: entrance exams, MBBS, and alternate medicine. Entrance exam, if you look at here, so there is only one entrance exam as of now because the AFMC and GPMR no longer exists. So the entire India is writing only one exam. So if now you come to NEET exam, if you just click the NEET exam, you see the results now. All the information is available about the NEET exam. Now they are in the order. NEET 2022, 20 pattern marking schemes analysis. how to prepare NEET using along with class 12. NEET preparation tips. So here, if you look at subject-wise tips and study materials, biology, how to last minute preparation tips, best books for physics, chemistry, and biology. So here, nowhere you are supposed to go. Everything is available just in a room. Just come to this place and you can just browse an article and you can read the topic-wise, subject-wise. See, for example, no important topic from biology and check preparation tips. A very, very, very useful article for you, right? And tackling using how to deal with the biology, score full marks in biology, and what the teacher, Santosh sir is saying, you may find lot of information which is also useful to you also. So whenever you have a time, you just come to this part, NEET, where you can browse all the information related to all your exam. Now, after this NEET exam, there's so much you need to what called as research about, because you all are aiming for MBBS. So what exactly MBBS is all about, which is the best colleges, where to study, what are the subjects you're going to study MBBS. Every information is available for MBBS. Nowhere you find this information, for example, how to become a doctor in India. So all this information is available related to MBBS. Suppose if MBBS is, other than MBBS, do we have any other option? Yes, there is other called alternate medicine. In this alternate medicine, you all know this BDS, BAMS, all these branches are very, very popular. And most of the students, they want to go for BDS. So what exactly BDS means? So you see what is BDS, BDS courses, BDS a complete guide, everything about only the BDS course. So now I want to know something about that homeopathy or physiotherapy. All this we have kept in order. For example, I want to know what is homeopathy, homeopathy science. See, for example, here, full form course details, BHMS course, core details, homeopathy courses, homeopathy scope and care option. So you can do more research about these courses, but not now. Maybe after your exam is over, definitely this information, nowhere you find, I promise, in this way. This is the only place you can find this in order. Sir, I want a quick response from you, Santosh sir. How useful this information for the students, the teachers, and the parents?
This is a single platform which is supposed to be offering all the educational content, as if I see, because if you go for a large search engine called as Google and type it there, you will get a number of search results where you have to once again filter and go on doing all the things. But a very dedicated platform for the educational purpose is your ed group, and you will be better, more fruitful when the people try to go through you. They will understand how it is different from the others. Because once we taste it, then we understand it. But not just seeing it, we understand it. Because tasting gives you the better way to go through. If you just go on doing it, then you will understand. That's my opinion.
So will you recommend it to your students, sir?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your kind words. Definitely, we need the support of teachers like you, sir. Yeah, we'll come back. Sorry for your interruption, my dear student. Now, this is the time for Q&A. I think a lot of students are there. If those who wanted to ask a question, the Santosh sir, please raise your hand. Definitely, you can unmute yourself and you can interact. Students who want to interact with Santosh sir, please raise your hand and definitely you are going to talk to him. Anyone? Yeah, who want to interact, please? Yeah. So anyone, please want to interact, because that exam time is very near. If you have any doubts, don't harbor them. Definitely, Santosh sir is going to will clarify all your doubts. Anyone want to talk to sir?
Yeah, Venkatesh sir, here I have a word for everyone. They can just post their queries.
Yeah, they can post the questions also in the in chat box.
The queries to you, I will just answer it if they want. And I also promise you that this database talk, which is presented on a group in terms of analysis, taking the last 3 years NEET papers, will be once again verified, and the write-up will be pasted on your web page. With regard to the after exam analysis, what I suggested to my students, I stand on the word that after 17th, in a span of 1 week, I promise you that not only giving the webinar, but I will also post that whether my analysis is supposed to be correct or not. Because I stand on my word that I will not move from modifying myself, because modification myself is not modifying me, but modifying my students. Therefore, I present myself that these analysis, what I presented today, hope they will be useful to the students. And if the trend is changing, we have to change according to the trend. Therefore, we will present our analysis, what happened on July 17 in a 1 week post session of the meeting on your webpage. That's all.
Yes.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your confidence, sir. That's the power of knowledge. I really appreciate. Definitely, sir. When you, as a teacher, we know that what exactly comes, where exactly comes, all that our experience shows. That's always says it is not easy to make a better teacher. It takes a lot of time. For example, you can prepare an engineer in 1 year, he'll become a better engineer. But a teacher is will become best not in a year. It takes years together to become a teacher. Why? Because we need to go through a lot of experience, lot of expertise. Every day subject has to update it. So definitely. Sir, I have few questions since some of the students are not responding. So may I ask some questions, sir? Yeah, generally, sir, because this is, I mean, hardly you have there another 1 week, 2 weeks time code, right? They are writing exam on 17th. So definitely most of the students will be under a lot of pressure. I've seen some of the students who prepared so well because of this pressure, especially the girl students, they'll be under a lot of pressure, and in the exam, they don't do well because of this pressure. So can you suggest any tips for them, sir, to avoid such situation?
See, there is only one tip is first of all, the confidence creates all the matter. Parent has to maintain a silence mode in terms of the student, not just pushing in such a way that why are you not getting? This is not the time to actually ask them why are you not getting. This is the time to make them let perform and let see the child actually go on improving their performance. You cannot make a student being jumping from 1 to 10 in a span of 2 3 weeks. And always a student, especially a girl student, because you have asked, what I suggest is read for 1.5 hours. Make it possible that they relax and go on talking more, express their feelings. Once again, take a book and go on reading. That will create some difference in the mindset because they don't try to go along with the books. The feeling is, general opinion is, if boy is there, he will mix up with the friends and go on forgetting what happened. But that kind of, because much students don't appear to the college and don't come to college. If they are in the home, they find it difficult to just overcome their stress. Then it's better that they take a break of half an hour, take another subject, not the same one. That's my suggestion.
Sir, one more question. Some students, maybe they are preparing for the first time, and there are some students who are preparing long term, right? So I've seen some students generally for the first time, they may think that there is a one more chance. Okay, so in which case the students are more success rates on the first attempt or during the long term?
Generally, my analysis is we have seen hundreds of people getting success in long term. It should not be wrong. The reason is they don't have the pressure of these board exams, practicals, etc. When it comes to BiPC, not at the same time, if you can manage and if you can perform, you can just easily get into the medical college directly without losing any year. But it depends on the conditions because in terms of the last 2 year pandemic, we see some difference. Some students are continuing to educate themselves. Some students are in touch with the groups. Some have a problem of going here and there. They are not able because online is not available in every part of the area. It's not going on perfectly. So they have some conceptual losses. May not be the entire chapter, but something may be a bubble in the chapter. That bubble is creating some more bubbles. That means the link up in the topic is going on, not appropriate. So that's what they use.
One last question, sir. You have seen, because you are in the field almost in Chaitanya, you said you are in 12 years, you're teaching NEET students. So, in your opinion, because you have seen a lot of students, sir, what are the common characteristics that you observe in the successful students?
A successful student will not have a tinge of negative opinion. First is you have to perform. Luck has to favor in the last. See, we need to understand that performance is in our hands. How the performance will be depends on so many factors. One thing is the paper, the mindset, presence of mind, and finally lucks come into play. The second one is successful student will always follow the system. They will not deviate from the system. For example, if you ask to actually go for a regular examination schedule, they will follow it. The reason is they understand that giving an exam, going for the analysis, rectifying the mistakes is nothing but a systematic approach. A systematic approach will give you. So that's the ideology of the successful student. They don't deviate from the path. They know that the proven suggestions that are given by someone are the basics to go towards the goal. That's very important.
And sir, some actually, because most of the 10th class parents or 10th class students also may be watching this webinar. Suppose if anyone wanted to come to BiPC, because generally the rumor is they say that BiPC is not easy, right? They don't have too many career options. Better go to engineering. Even they like biology also, some parents force them to go to MPC. So what suggestion you give to such parents? Can they take up BiPC with confidence, sir? Can they take up?
See, BiPC is such a career which will not have retirement. That's one important. The more you become older, the better experience you have, the better amount of earning you go on getting once you settle. But no other profession here will have that kind of what do you say, output. If you go to an engineer, you will have some retirement. Even today, also in the software programming field, after 45 or 50, you need to settle down somewhere, not in a company. But at the same time, if you have completed a service of nearly 20 years as a doctor, you can see the number of patients will be waiting outside if you are correctly able to become a part of the public. So that's what I say. See, nothing will come easily. There is no gain. If there is no pain, there will be no gain.
Yes.
See, opting is not wrong, but after opting, you should not have second thought. And this is such a group which has a demand, which there will be a demand, because in a country like India, where 130 crore population has only say nearly 1 lakh seats, say 18 lakhs. I'm telling just a number which is still less. Nearly 21 lakh candidates have registered this time NEET. We don't have even 2 lakh seats also. So you can understand what's the gap. But in days to come, if it is going on increasing, then this is the area where, see, what only doctor is not done is not the output. In terms of pandemic, people have understood that the second level of medical staff, even the pharma companies, they are becoming more important. And this is the field which will have earning even in pandemic. This is what is the most important one. Because when every field is supposed to be not having earning, this is the field which is having earning. Because life depends more on what in the sense the earning country. Even if you don't want to portray that in that way, people see anyone in terms of the earning capacity. That's what I think.
Yeah, definitely, sir.
Any student can opt BiPC, but the point is there should be a continuous cumulative assessment, CCA, continuous cumulative assessment, how the student is performing for student factors.
Yeah, definitely, sir. Another interesting part is because of recent war in Ukraine. So maybe in India, the competition is going to increase because nobody wants to go to leave India. That is one effect is going to be. At the same time, I think in our state, maybe in the future, we are going to get number of medical colleges. And one thing we should appreciate, sir, I always say this one. During this pandemic time, it is very clear that only science have saved the humans. No, not our beliefs, not our preachers, not our what called as churches or temples or masjids. They saved the people. only the hospital, the doctors. So definitely, I always say that science has that power, the doctors have that power. Without these vaccination, right? Without these doctors, definitely the situation may be out of control. Our belief system will not save us from diseases. Only the people who are good at the medicine and they can do it. So definitely we should encourage people. As you said, India is a 130 crore population. Definitely with this type of what called as environment we are living in, definitely we are prone to a lot of new diseases, and definitely we require more and more doctors to save the people. So I think even sir, when I'm working on this career options for BiPC, I'm really surprised. As you said, there are more career options for BiPC than MPC, because there's so many fields where these medical graduates can work. So definitely, as you said, even I suggest
in the present scenario of lifestyle, physiotherapy is also gaining popularity.
Yes,
But
yes, sir.
but 4 5 years back, when in the case of 2013 14, if you just take the name of physiotherapy, they found it to be somewhat a low level grade course. But now you can see in every particular colony there will be some physiotherapy center, because we observe that yoga, physiotherapy, these things are becoming what in the sense a part and parcel of the life. So there is no wrong to say that this is not a charming book. But thing is, it's a circle. It goes on. There was an era when BiPC went down. There is an era when BiPC is booming. So that will be there, but it will be, see, ups and downs are common. But you have to be stable on your work, and you have to work. That's one. That's very very important.
Definitely, sir. So wonderful suggestions you made to the students, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You were so patient enough to give us all the points from last 1.5 or so. And dear student, thanks for joining. Definitely, I wish you all, because this is the last webinar we are conducting in this NEET series, and definitely we'll start again the next academic year. And I thank you all for joining. I hope that you'll use all the suggestions given by Santosh sir and implement them. Definitely, as sir said, we are going to make one video with the sir after 17th of exam is over. We'll make sure that our analysis is 100% correct. So
Yeah,
as you said, it is complete. Yes, sir.
I leave the meeting handing over to you. That biology is the boss. We stand on our works. Scoring biology is nothing but making students more better, stronger, and getting this done in the better medical colleges. Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
Thank you.
Right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your definitely. I believe now on I say biology is the boss.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Right, sir. Thank you so much for all the people who have joined for this webinar. This is all for today. We are going to have another wonderful webinar on the next Sunday. All the career talks will start.